Hello and welcome back. We are day 2 now on the event to end all events, the Winner Lotus, hosted by MTG Bazaar. And we have whittled down our field from 310 players to 90, I think was the count we just heard in the players meeting.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm Dylan Brown.
Ian Comic over here. Our players had to go 5-3 yesterday to come back today. Everyone else is back here. There's some other events going on, lots of mystery boosted drafts. There's an Underground Sea event going on.
Yeah, for the people who still want some more 7-point action and didn't make the cut today too. Hopefully they're lucky with a lot of the sharks swimming over there for the rest of the day.
But for those of the players who are still in the main event, we've got 4 more rounds this morning. Then we're going to cut to a top 8. So those players, this is the pointy end for them.
Oh yeah, this is where it gets spicy. Pat did say in his overall announcements, hey, I used to be a grinder too. Let's keep it a little bit more civil. We know we're playing for $30,000 roughly, give or take. The knives are gonna come out in that area. And we've got a fun matchup on camera. At least that's fun for me.
We do. So we've got our first Grixis player of the weekend. We kept them off coverage yesterday. We showed you some of the more interesting decks. But rest assured, there are Grixis players in the room. So we've got one of them, James Larsen-Scott, one of your teammates.
Yeah, this is we affectionately called JLS is how I'm going to be referring to him for the rest of the match. Wearing the Fibblethib hat.
Both of them with Fibblethib hats.
Oh, baby.
I love it.
Do you reckon one of them put it on and then the other one was like, I'm not getting out Fibblethib here?
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other side, Henry Fair. He'll be familiar to viewers of the stream. He was on stream yesterday, defeated a Nadu player in round 3.
Yes, yeah, knocked out Noel round 3. Henry's also picked up a couple of draws in the couple of rounds leading up to it. Henry, a technically undefeated player?
Technically undefeated. One of 3 undefeated players we have left. There's also 2 701 players. So no 8-0 players yesterday, actually, which is interesting as we head towards the top 8. It means there's a little bit more flex in some ways, but also less in others. Probably no 7-3s getting in, or rather X3s getting into the top 8 with some of these extra draws around. Yeah,
it's going to be a weird cut, and we'll see how that develops over the course of the day. But yeah, JLS is going to be on the Grixis deck, the Grixis bus stop as it is affectionately known. Our team has put a lot of work into this deck. We've had a lot of iterations of the deck in the last couple of weeks. Given the recent pointings of Psychic Frog and Reanimate, the deck's had to make up a few changes, but nothing too drastic until Avatar. So we tried out a lot of cards in these slots. We're going to lead off on a DRC here. Looks like we also have Psychic Frog, Deadpool, Underground Sea in the hand. So JLS's hand is incredibly powerful for a matchup where you're trying to play onto the board.
Yes, and this Orzhov Taxes deck from Henry's side, also very fair. So we would expect a pretty back and forth, long, fair, interactive game, I would expect.
For sure, and we can see Henry's hand here. It looks like we have a Douthie Voidwalker, a Murderous Cut. I believe that's a Stoneforge Mystic in there as well.
Douthie Voidwalker is a really nice one against Grixis. Although it's not a combo deck in the sort of traditional sense, it does use the graveyard a lot. And Swords to Plowshares is really important to get rid of that frog. This is a really strong opening from JLS.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Psychic Frog got to 2 points for a reason. The card is incredibly powerful. We want to get it off the board as soon as we can. Henry also has One Ring in hand, so JLS actually might get value out of this Spell Pierce in a matchup that Spell Pierce is usually a dead card in. So.
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting you say, Bus Stop, of course, long time Grixis players, I would say, really, in a lot of ways, leading innovation on that deck. Grixis is actually not doing so well. There's a lot of it here, but today, we'll get to the stats after round 10, but the conversion rate wasn't quite there, but at the same time, in the hands of the best players like a JLS who has a heap of experience, heap of success, it is a very powerful deck that gives you a lot of agency.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I think one of the things that, some little insider knowledge from the Bus Stop crew over here, we kind of expected shops to not show up anymore. We haven't seen much of it in locals. There hasn't been much talk about it. I know Volti won one of the invitational qualifiers with shops, and there's always going to be those people who just love registering workshop. But we kind of expected, we haven't seen it. We're not going to really tech that hard for it. And yesterday showed that we were so wrong on that.
Spoilers, Shops was the best performing deck on day 1. We'll get to it, but
there's a lot of robots in the room.
There's a lot of Shops. There's a few Eldrazi decks all doing really well right near the top. So
and horrible news for Grixis gamers out there. So
it is. I talked to Trent earlier yesterday, and he said, please just keep feeding me more Grixis decks.
Yeah. There's also a lot of Storm players in the room, more than I expected. I think I heard from last check 5 people made.
There were 7 Storm players and 6 of them made day 2.
6 of them made day 2. There we go. So also another nightmare matchup for Grixis. But JLS is still holding his own. One of the most competent pilots I can see on this deck.
And right at home with these sort of highly interactive mid-range decks.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And JLS has actually spent a lot less time playing Magic than he's usually known for. Known by many people as Lava Ridge from Moto. JLS has taken a little change in career paths recently. I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
I am, yes.
JLS has started learning how to be a DJ and has started DJing at clubs and stuff at night. So still maintaining those grind hours, but he's now behind the decks. And it is one of the coolest things that's happened in our bus stop Discord for years, honestly.
It is awesome to see, actually. I love it. Swapping the late night moto challenges for late night DJing. It's great.
It's the best when he comes home from a set and he's like, oh, I was right in time for the standard challenge to fire, and just gets into it. But
excellent.
He's spinning the decks and he's spinning Henry's life total down as we get more into this game here.
He is. So doing the Grixis thing, playing cheap threats, interacting with your opponent's threats to just pull ahead. Lean and Arbite is a really nice one to have under an Emperor of Bones.
Yeah, exactly.
Threatening to put that one in at instant speed if your opponent cracks a fetch land.
Instead, he's just, I want to shove.
Or
Damage.
just shove.
Damage time.
That too. I wanted to get fancy with it, but JLS said, how about I just add 4 more power to the board?
And you know what? That's why we're in the booth.
Yeah, correct.
He's down there.
I would have wanted to try and get my opponent. And JLS said, how about I just try and win the game instead?
Yeah, exactly. And JLS's last 2 cards in hand, no slouch either, Spell Pierce and Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool's a pretty good one.
Look, it looks like Henry doesn't have land number 4 unless...
Big deal, with the 1 ring in hand. And
yeah, exactly.
JLS has tapped out, so this would be the opportunity to try and jam it, but instead,
yeah,
stuck on 3
interesting.
lanes.
And whatever creature Henry could develop onto the board here can just get Deadpool swapped. And that is a nightmare. We haven't seen much Deadpool on camera. In fact, we never got to see it yesterday. I don't know.
Think we saw it at all yesterday.
Yeah.
But it is around. There's a lot of them around.
There is a lot of Deadpool in the room. It is a very divisive card.
I think we worked out it was 130 or something in the room
Whoa!
yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
Out of 310 players, so almost 1 in 2 players.
I do like the fact that we've now had Deadpool in the format for, I want to say, around 6 months' time, give or take. Players have started finally figuring out how this card works. We used to have a lot of issues of, we would ask questions, being like, what does Deadpool do here? What happens if I swap here?
I've still seen plenty of judge calls over the last 2 days about this card.
It's not 80% of judge calls anymore now, though. We're down to 40, 50%.
You know what my favorite thing was? Yesterday we had Liam Whelan on coverage playing Rakdos Aggro, and he had a Deadpool shirt on. He said, you know what, it's open list, so I'm not giving anything away. I can just...
That's I even see some of the Storm players had Deadpool in their sideboard, and they're like, I don't know, man. I see it win games in mid-range mirrors for no reason.
I have seen Deadpool solo build. Not only does it answers your opponent's, opposition agent or Doubthy Voidwalker, but it's also just a 5-power creature that lightning spikes your opponent every time.
And JLS just wins the match. Sorry, wins the game with this.
Yep.
So no blocks from Henry, wanting to keep that Giver of Runes alive for potential future turns. Dropping down to 2. Can already see the Lightning Bolt in the graveyard. And we'll pull Deadpool up on the screen, actually, just to really show what this card does, because
showcase this card.
A lot of words, ridiculous artwork, ridiculous premise that this is in Magic the Gathering, but this is the world we're living in, and it's a Deadpool world out there.
It is. Very powerful card. This is a Secret Lair exclusive card.
Exactly. It's not legal on Moto either, so for all those people who play in VFNs, you might not understand how oppressive this card has been for the format.
That's funny. I played Time Walks in VFN the other week, and I had the Natural Order Atraxa, and after talking to experienced Time Walk pilots, they all said, we've cut Atraxa from our decks because if you get it copied by Deadpool, the game is so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, but online you can play it because there's no Deadpools.
There's no Deadpools out there, yeah. It's a completely different format.
As we take a look at the deck list, we're going to start with Henry. It's really tricky in these matchups. These sort of grinding matchups, it's hard to have a haymaker as such against a Grixis deck.
Yeah, Grixis is literally just, these are the best cards in the format. They are the most efficient, the cheapest interaction, the cheapest threats that can be developed along that interaction, and the best counterspells. So it's kind of like when you tried to sideboard against, say, Jund in Modern back in the day. When it was like, there's no good cards against it. You just kind of got to make your deck slightly better.
Couple notable ones, though. Ketramose, really hard to remove. Can draw a lot of cards. Grixis is not good at dealing with an indestructible creature.
No, they have 1 Dismember, and they have
one
counterspells.
Deadpool.
And they have Deadpool, yeah. How about I have a Ketramose?
How about that? The other options there, Sanctifier and Vec. Pretty nice. Protection from a lot of Grixis' cards.
Big fan.
Bit of graveyard disruption to slow things down. Can block all day. Spirit of the Labyrinth is another one. There's a lot of card draw in the Grixis decks. That might come in. It's a bit vulnerable as a 3-1.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things we're going to see when JLS's deck pops up as well is Grixis has swapped away from that Deathrite Shaman play that would be its one-pointed card towards Bowmasters. We expected a big uptick in Wan Shitong, the Librarian. We expected a lot more instant speed interaction. We wanted to be able to hide that we might have a Wan Shitong alongside Bowmasters. And Bowmasters is one of those weird cards where the less play it sees, the better it becomes.
Yeah,
as people
absolutely.
start not respecting it anymore. We can see Henry also has Bowmasters in their list as well. So Henry's no slouch, understanding that this card is quite powerful, especially in the white-black taxes deck. You want to be able to get on board and interact, and it does both.
In terms of things you're cutting, some of the taxing effects are maybe not as high priority.
Yeah, I wouldn't be thrilled by things like Clarion Conqueror, for example.
Superior Spider-Woman.
It's just, yeah, like they're decent-sized bodies, but we can probably have better options to come in. And this is JLS's list here, which is, I think, exactly the 75 that all of the Grixis gamers from Bus Stop have registered. And as I said, the most notable difference is the Bowmasters over the copy of Deathrite Shaman.
Yes.
We did try a few other avatar cards alongside Wan Shitong, the Librarian. Little peek behind the curtain. Fire Nation Occupation might be something we wanted to try out. We didn't get enough time to test this card to the full extent. And I looked through, I couldn't see anyone who registered it for this weekend either, but I have been dubbing this card as Fable the Mirror Breaker at home.
Oh, that is
quite a cool card. So we're going to pull this up on screen when we get
We'll pull this back
off
up in a
this.
second. In terms of sideboarding,
Massacre, Toxic Deluge.
Yeah.
Bring them in.
Bring him in, and then maybe Quantum Riddler, Colligon's Command as sort of grindy cards
Yeah,
as we
for
try
sure.
and fight this mid-range battle.
I think this Duress has to come out. There's not many things it can hit. Same with the Force of Negation.
Yes.
There's a chance that JLS also wants to board out Force of Will as the whole. I don't want to 2-for-1 myself against a matchup that's going to go long, it's going to go grindy, and I'd rather just play aggressively to the board.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these Massacre Toxic Deluge are the absolute hammers in this matchup. You see planes, you see white little shitters. I want them off the table. I want them gone.
Sort of the case. Massacre reminds me of Submerge, which is also in JLS's deck, where if you have the right basic land type, and they have the right basic land type, it's probably really good.
Yeah, they don't make free spells like they used to, I'll tell you that much. But
they don't.
and this is Fire Nation Occupation that I was talking about. So this is doing the same thing as Fable of the Mirror Breaker, in quotation marks, right? It's not that good. Where in ETBs, you make a 2/2 red soldier creature token with Firebending 1, and whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, not just instant and sorcery, but also creatures, anything else with flash, you're going to make another Firebending token, which you can, pump that mana into potentially a 1 Shitong in mid-combat, or any other instant speed interaction you might want to start fighting over, Lightning Bolt, for example.
Very possible for this to create more than two 2/2s as well.
Oh, yeah.
Grixis loves to cast spells during its opponent's turn.
Henry's got a really good start here. We see turn 1 Mother of Runes, which has gotten to untap. Huge.
Beautiful Mother of Runes as well.
Oh, yeah. This is from the Mother's Day Secret Lair, I believe, that they made. Big fan of this one. And it looks like we might have the cheeky... Okay, this is a Voice of Victory that's come into play here. That, JLS is not going to let that resolve.
Jeez.
And
That
now,
is always so powerful when it works.
for sure. Now we're in this awkward spot, though, where the Ragavan's never going to get to attack into this Mother of Runes. Maybe we have to force a removal spell. Not too sure.
I was going to say, it's an interesting mind game. If JLS just plays his Volcanic Island and says, go to combat and attacks, can you block us, Henry? It's a strong signal that he has Lightning Bolt.
To be honest, I think from Henry's position, without saying Henry's hand, there's also a strong argument for that play to just go like, okay, I'll block with Mother of Runes. What do you want to do?
Trade.
And just, I'm happy to trade here if you want to bluff, and then JLS can come out on top of that. Looks like JLS's hand is a couple of lands, Corey Steelcutter, Sheoldred, huge in this matchup, and a Mishra's Bauble. So we can trigger that Corey Steelcutter next turn.
I was going to say, this is where we see the downside of Days Low. Picking up a land when you're on the draw does put you behind when you have a 4-drop in hand. You have Corey Steelcutter, which is, well, in this case, he has the 0 to immediately trigger it. But it means this turn was Ponder instead of Corey Steelcutter, put a thing in play, start attacking.
For sure. And it's one of those things that, like, would you trade Time Walk for Voice of Victory? I think in this matchup you have to, because Voice of Victory really messes up the Grixis deck.
Ooh.
And there is, this is one of the Spider people, Spider Woman. This is the artifacts, I believe, and artifacts and creatures enter tapped from
There's
your
a really
opponents.
nice one against Corey Steelcutter.
And Mishra's Bauble, which is both in JLS's hand.
Yeah, Mishra's Bauble does have to tap and
Yeah.
sacrifice. Excellent.
That's actually really funny. So JLS has got an Emperor of Bones off this Ponder, so decided not to shuffle, it looks like. So we're expecting to see the Swamp that was also in that pile, and the Underground Sea that JLS has drawn as well. Now, I wonder how safe JLS is going to play with his lands as well. Henry's deck is that taxes list. We are expecting to see, Wasteland Strip Mine effects. So I wonder how safe JLS wants to play this, to be honest. But I think, given the way that the Grixis deck is so efficient and him having 2 extra lands in hand on top of this, you're just going to jam. There's not a Blood Moon effect that's going to completely shut off your colors. So I think playing around the 1-of Wasteland is not worth it at the time. And this is a huge play that we used to see a lot in Grixis when Reanimate existed.
Yep.
Of Emperor of Bones, Exile Troll of Khazad-dûm, but it's not his.
You say that though, but again, Spider-Woman's in play, so the Troll's going to come into play tapped. So JLS is going to have to put it in Henry's end step, untap, attack with it. So little bits of interaction, little bits of just disruption
Slightly
from the Orzhov
annoying,
Taxes deck. That is sort of the name of the game.
This is like having a fly stuck in your car while you're driving, and you're just like, it's annoying. It's going to slightly put me off. It might not win, but...
But the thing is, even if that Troll will get in for 6, Henry will take 6, still has 9 life, still has a reasonable board.
That's huge.
And the rest of JLS's game plan is being slowed down.
Yeah.
That Sanctifier on Vec is really nice. That'll block Ragavan or Emperor of Bones forever.
Yep. And most of the cards that JLS is going to be playing for the next couple of turns, red and black, it's going to stop potential Delve threats as well. And we just see a Murktide off the top. Luckily, nothing red or black in the graveyard to slow down that the big dragon there.
Can still put fetch lands in, can put that bauble in eventually. So could still play the Murktide next turn. Now, notably, the Core Steel Cutter is red, but the tokens it makes are white.
Thank goodness.
So those will attack past the Sanctuary on Vec after a turn, because they'll come in tapped. Everything's just being slowed down. That is really the name of the game of this Orzhov Taxes deck.
Yeah, for sure. And look, it's one of those things that JLS is slowly but surely building a board, right?
Yeah.
So kind of invalidating the Mother of Runes, and keeping it not on blocking duty, but on the... It will prevent removal spells on these key hate pieces that are in play.
But at the same time, Henry's also building up a board.
True.
Richardon Port there, I think that was.
Yeah, that is a Richardon Port.
Restrict the mana.
We have a Starfield Shepherd as
yes,
well.
That's a really nice value play.
Love
find a
Starfield
1-drop.
Shepherd.
We can play the 1-drop this turn.
What 1-drops do we have from Henry's list that we could potentially pick up with this?
Ocelot Pride.
I mean,
Deathrite
absolute
Shaman.
banger.
Dryad Militant. Giver of Runes for more protection. Those look like the standout ones to me. So there's a few options. Nothing that's a huge hammer, I would say.
No, surprisingly.
Good options.
I'm not sure if we wouldn't want to be looking for potentially Deathrite Shaman here. Ocelot Pride's going to be hard to trigger without that guide. There's not many sources of life gain in Henry's deck, and there's none in play. So it's not exactly something where you can go like, okay, Ocelot Pride's going to start making an incredible board. We need to have something that to combo with it.
Absolutely.
And now Henry has used Emperor of Bones to get back Voice of Victory. So we might be able to have, 2 mana, bring this Voice of Victory in and force through a play that JLS will not be able to interact with based on the Voice of Victory's passive ability there. Oh, but once again, these players are angry with these Emperor of Bones this match. They just want to shove.
Getting in.
Getting in while the going's good.
And the Sanctifier coming across as well.
Yeah, I mean, can't be blocked, really, so... Yep. This saying, I saw how quickly you were able to close out game 1 from seemingly not much, and I can't let that happen again. So
we're just
I got to send in the clowns. We're doing it.
So 6 damage going to come across here. Healthy chunk, and we'll put JLS down to 11 now. And there is a board in play, Henry is attacking. There's a couple of evasive creatures. Mum can also make something else evasive, potentially.
Exactly. And, these Sanctifier is never going to be able to be blocked unless this... this
Murktide could come down. The white monks there that we've got as an empty sleeve can also block.
Okay, so JLS has picked up an Inquisition of Kozilek, which is going to miss, unfortunately.
It will, potentially, if he decides to fire that off. And you have to think...
I think we're just going to see Sheoldred.
Yeah, Sheoldred also... That'll swing races.
It's going to be able to prevent these little nickel and dime damage that's coming across, while also being able to... If we're stuck in a board stall state, Sheoldred slowly ticks down. But JLS is looking like we're going to go for Inquisition plus Murktide to be able to make more of these Core Steel Cutter tokens.
Yep.
So, okay, that missed.
And also just put a large dragon in play. With an Emperor of Bones on the other side, you're not guaranteed necessarily to be able to keep filling your graveyard.
Yeah, exactly. And it might be one of those things where let it happen now. We're not sure when the next chance we might get for a Murktide is. And these Core Steel Cutter tokens are going to scale as, we get more and more of them. It means more spells off the top is more powerful.
Keep building out the board, and JLS here choosing not to move the Core Steel Cutter over.
I think that's smart. Keeping the one that's untapped as a 2/2. I don't think we're going to see an attack here into the 4/4 Emperor of Bones, even though it's a 3/3, especially with Mum as well. Mum makes attacking pretty obnoxious there, so we're going to draw off the bauble finally. We draw a Brainstorm, which is pretty good with Sheoldred. We're going to gain 6 life if we need it.
Pretty good. I mean, pretty good in general, but especially with Sheoldred.
So yeah, JLS now has options that are great draws. So the Grixis deck usually caps out at 4 mana for the Sheoldred effect, for Deadpool. Sometimes we see Pyrogoyf in these lists, which means drawing a land, we get to play Sheoldred. and we get to play Brainstorm, which means we're triggering our cutter, we're gaining some life. If we don't draw a land, we're drawing a spell, and
That's good too.
almost every spell is going to be able to be cast alongside that Brainstorm as well if we want to make more monks. So
Henry, on the other hand, has options now.
yeah,
Has
now we have
drawn
Baragoi.
That is a life gain source.
Is it? We don't have graveyards at the moment.
Well,
Maybe eventually.
eventually. It could be.
With dueling Emperor of Bones, though, and the Sanctifier, these graveyards have gotten teeny tiny. And Baragoi,
Very good point.
such a powerful card. Honestly, one of those cards that, if we're starting to get to a point where every good threat in the format gets pointed for overuse, Barry's on the chopping block. He's almost in every black deck.
It's very strong. Very powerful card. The Spider-Woman will come across for 2.
We're deciding not to attack with a Sanctifier now. We need to keep it back because of those monk tokens. And yeah, we're just going to clarify the board state for everyone so it's easy to see why that Sanctifier doesn't attack here. And there's the Warped Starfield Shepherd. So, Henry, what's the choice?
And notably, Henry here choosing not to activate Rishadan Port. So that Shieldred will be able to come down next turn.
And also, Henry understands this matchup. Henry's very well versed, plays at Chatswood a lot. There's a lot of Grixis gamers in Chatswood. We got, the likes of Juzza. We've got Jack Ding, who's known to play Grixis time to time. We've got
Cecil.
fellow bus stop player Steven also plays Grixis at Chatswood. So Henry knows that the Grixis deck is cheap. If I'm porting your 4th land, it's not exactly going to help me, but doesn't realize one of the only 4-drops in the deck is in hand.
Exactly.
And yes, Cecil was the choice here off the Starfield Shepherd.
Yeah,
Cecil's
so
huge.
Death Toucher there, but also potentially has the ability at some point to flip into a large life-linking creature.
Just like in the story, Cecil redeemed himself. We have 4/4 with lifelink that can give other attacking creatures indestructible. Which
Powerful.
That'll punch through a board.
I haven't seen that ability resolved very often.
No.
Usually it goes on the stack and the opponent concedes.
Usually I don't even make them pull the Cecil out of the sleeve and transform it.
Yeah.
If that thing's flipping against me, because most of the time you see this card in standard, you're just like, no, man, you got it, it's fine.
That's fine. You got me.
Okay, what did JLS draw here? I didn't quite catch it. I was too busy reminiscing about Cecil. Oh, there's the Massacre. Is that it?
That's a pretty nice one. Cast that
Is
one
that
for
good?
free.
Is that good? I think that's good.
Get to also trigger your Corey Steel Cutter
Yeah.
alongside with the Shieldred afterwards.
Yeah, that one's a beating. And Mum, notably, cannot stop this. Cannot give protection from -2/-2. It's not damage. So very exciting to see how JLS is going to play this. As I said, we didn't draw a land for this Brainstorm, but the Massacre being a free spell means we can develop Shieldred and then also develop this Massacre if we want to. But we'll see how JLS wants to play this turn. Maybe doesn't want to give up the Monk.
The Monk and also currently the Emperor of Bones is unadapted. So it would
And Ragavan
cost
too.
a few creatures on JLS's side as well. It's not free.
Yeah.
You're going to adapt this?
Yeah, there we go. So JLS is choosing to adapt the Emperor. We're going to bring the Troll back. It's going to come into play tapped, which means we're not going to do it, unfortunately. There's no way we could have sequenced this, that we could have gotten rid of the Spider-Woman and kept the Emperor of Bones alive to bring back this Troll untapped.
Yep, absolutely. So instead, we will see the board get simplified a little bit.
And yeah, this is one of those cards that when you play these white strategies like Orzhov, Mono White, Death and Taxes, when you see these Mardu decks, Massacre is always such a beating against you that you kind of have to play as if, I just hope you don't have it.
Absolutely.
Sanctifier means Ragavan gets exiled.
Oh yeah, so Sanctifier is going to exile the Ragavan as its last known information. So it will check as the spell is resolving there. And because Massacre is -2/-2, not destroy all creatures, that will also check as last known information because technically it will resolve before the creatures go away.
Yes.
And state best actions will be checked.
Yep, that one will get exiled as well. So
Monk token gets pumped by Prowess, so currently a 3/3 with -2/-2, so we're 1/1.
so much math involved in this game.
Math is for blockers, but unfortunately we got to try and keep the audience entertained and informed. So.
We'll get to trigger Prowess here. Now,
And make another Monk token.
Jayla's going to stack these triggers correctly so that he doesn't kill his Monk token when he moves the Corey Steel Cutter away.
Such a good player. Doesn't make that mistake.
Incredible.
I've made that mistake.
Looks like found a Dismember as well. So has a removal spell for the Emperor if he would
It looked like it was Dismember and Molten Collapse as well. And Counterspell.
So potentially a lot of damage coming across this turn after
yeah.
that devastating Massacre.
Does JLS want to go to 5? Maybe. I
If
wouldn't.
it leaves Henry with very little board.
I wouldn't hate it. And then we're going to see a little nice trick there from JLS, using the Emperor of Bones to exile his own Brainstorm from the graveyard to pump the Murktide +1/+1.
And so that Murktide comes across for 4. So it has 3 counters on it, I believe.
Yeah, so we went from 2 counters up to 3. Because we exiled 2 lands and 2 blue spells, some cantrips earlier in the game to cast it for 3 mana. And now Henry looks like we have Barragoyf plus Dryad Militant in hand. Barry is still quite small. We've only got creatures, so we're looking at a 3 mana 1/2 and a 2 mana 2/1. With JLS's hand being, Dismember, plus we have Counterspell on top, I believe, was the stacking. Counterspell, then Molten Collapse.
Believe so, possibly.
So I think we're going to look at JLS going for maybe a 2-life Dismember to get rid of one of these creatures on the board, and holding up Counterspell for whatever Henry's follow-up could be in the following turn.
Yes.
As like a little check.
I suspect we might see that, yeah. For Henry, though, not too many options. Might just have to deploy the creatures and hope.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to see if we could find a 5th land to be able to get this Starfield Shepherd out of the warp zone and get another creature going. And also, at least it flies, so we can try and survive this Murktide another turn or 2. But
absolutely,
as it stands, this is a really dominant board that all of a sudden evaporated from Henry, and now it's all in JLS's favor.
Absolutely, and this is the power of the Massacre.
Exactly. It's how he spin it up. DJLS on the decks. Looking to get an 8-1 record going into the start of day 2.
Which is where you want to be. Both these players now, you start to get to the pointy end where you don't have too many losses to give for both of these players, really. JLS probably has 1 loss to give. Henry really right on the edge. Another loss makes it difficult.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's one of those things, we did a rough calculation. Now, given the fact that we don't have any 8-0s today, there were some unintentional draws at the top 2 tables in round 8 last night. So the math is a little bit more complex than we expected, but we're probably expecting that most of the X2-1s should make top 8.
Yes,
but
beyond that, it gets really difficult.
It's going to be quite messy in the fact that I would say we might have 3 or 4 X2-1s who might be sweating to see if they make it or not. So then we've got the Emperor of Bones attacks in, happily to trade with this. Sorry, no, the Cecil attacked in. JLS goes, all right, I'll trade with my Emperor. I don't need this to win. I'd rather you take the 2 damage off the Cecil and just get it off the board.
Well, the big thing is if you don't block, that Cecil would have flipped. And then you have a 4/4 lifelinker, and that's much more of a problem.
That's way worse.
So just take the trade while you can before Henry can gain a lot of life with it.
And the Emperor's done its job. The graveyards are tiny.
Absolutely.
We've already adapted it. We're not getting much more out of it.
Henry will just run out the Barragoyf.
Ow!
And James is going to spend that Dismember to get rid of it. Down to 4 life.
And now we know we have Counterspell on top. We're going to untap with our 6/6 Flying Dragon, our 2 Prowess tokens. And we're going to have Shieldred or Counterspell. So is JLS feeling reactive or proactive? Which way, Western man? Show me.
It is interesting because JLS chose to keep the Shieldred in hand, knowing he wouldn't be able to double spell this turn if he plays the Shieldred. So it is interesting choices here. But the 6/6 Dragon is going to end this game. Hard to imagine from no hand how Henry could get through another turn with the Counterspell.
And this is the Counterspell in JLS's hand that... Okay, so this game is over. Like, there is no way Henry can come out of this.
Yes.
So I want to talk about if you have a Counterspell and you're in this position, do you show it to your opponent before you pass the turn just to be like, hey, there's nothing you can do about this? Or do you...
Not at this level of competition with this stakes when I'm 7-1 in an event to try and win a Black Lotus, I don't.
See, I would look at them and be like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I just got it. I got everything today. What are you going to do about it?
No. Maybe in a casual game, but not here. Not here. Here I'm playing it very straight up.
That's fair. That's fair. I get behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back to the booth. That was round number 9. Only 3 rounds to go now.
Yeah, and it looks like, JLS, maybe 1 more win in his pocket, 1 more loss in a draw. It's going to be locked for the top 8 and chance at that Black Lotus. So.
He's in very good position.
That's
for
my
Henry,
boy.
the road gets a little bit more difficult now, 6-1 and 2.
Yeah.
Gets a little bit tricky. Those extra draws sort of adding up, not much better than a loss.
Yeah, 19 match points is pretty rough going into this now. And JLS sitting at 24, so big discrepancy in how those pairings worked out. And as we said, there are some awkward moments because of how the last couple of rounds went with those unintentional draws. So the top players on the standings at the moment, those numbers are weird. They're all over the place.
But at the same time, plenty of prizes to play for, prizes going all the way down. So I'm sure for Henry, still plenty to play for. And it's Highlander.
Yeah,
These
it's
games are
fun.
These games are really fun. It's a good weekend.
You showed up to play Magic, you get to play more Magic.
Absolutely.
The prize yesterday was more magic. The prize today is $30,000.
Well,
there's slightly
no.
difference, but
Speaking of more magic, we will have more magic coming up soon. Round number 10, hopefully not too far away.
stay tuned.